And the question is, what's his reaction to those who think that by relaxing the rules, government is effectively, though unintentionally, giving license for COVID-19 to spread amongst poor black people who use taxis? And couldn't government use this opportunity to register those in the taxi industry into proper tax-paying companies and then use some COVID-19 relief money to assist them? The third question is from Yanilation, including but not limited to the MPRDA. If so, how does the timing of such actions encourage public participation? The fourth question is from Bonga Dlulani from EWN. It's directed to the Minister of Justice. Those arrested by the police, will their cases be expedited, and what measures are taken to ensure where they are kept at social distancing is practiced? The fifth question is from Carol Payton at Business Day, directed to the DM of Health. She's asking how much PPE has government procured, how many masks and how many glasses and pairs of gloves, and how many tests are available in the country for both public and private institutions. Should I continue?
If you say how many tests, you mean how many
Test
testing
kits.
facilities?
Yes, test kits.
Or test kits?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
We have 5. Why don't we take these 5? Do we have anybody at the call center? Those that are following, do we have anybody? Not now. Okay. Looks like they love the WhatsApp number. Who are the colleagues that wants to start? Minister of Transport?
Fake permits as an ongoing law enforcement that will be followed up. We are a nation that is prone to breaking the law. Even without corona, even without the lockdown, we register many cases year in and year out of drink and driving when the law is very clear, don't drink and drive. We are a nation that is prone to breaking the law. And this lockdown is giving us an opportunity to give an examination to ourselves about a nation that is changing, to accept things and accept the rule of law. Because there's no need for people to sell fake permits. Yes, where such is found, they will be arrested. And now that it has been brought to the public, and we're all aware, law enforcement will be made aware that somewhere in the Eastern Cape and probably in the country, somebody is busy undermining the regulations and the law by selling fake permits to citizens of our country. Because we have said you can get a permit by going to a police station. So we know that the stamp of the police station is the cheapest stamp of promoting fraudulent activities. For everything. So because we talked about the police station, you will simply go at the police station, fake death, do all sorts of things because you want to travel to visit your friends in the Free State. Don't do it because you are endangering the lives of others. We are fighting something that we don't know, we can't touch. It's like a ghost. It's not something that you see coming. And it is only we are told by doctors in the Department of Health, led by the 2 capable doctors, that we can only, and the World Health Organization, fight this by keeping a distance and by doing all the things, washing our hands and staying at home during the lockdown to flatten the curve. It does not mean after 21 days we will have won the war. The war continues. This is but just a battle. A battle for 21 days to stop the spread to a point where this is uncontrollable and we can't handle it anymore. That's what 21 days is all about. But it doesn't mean after 21 days, everything else will be back to normal. And the command and cabinet will make a decision about the way forward when we arrive there. Relaxing the rules I have explained, and I don't want to be over defensive. We have noted what you raise, but I can explain in terms of transport in relation to the 70% and repeat again that we took that decision to alleviate the taxi industry in relation to the basics of fueling the car and probably paying the driver, which under the circumstances, they are making a huge loss with no recovery. Why are we not introducing relief? We are looking at that. I've explained that to the taxi bosses and the taxi leadership in the country, that government is looking at that. But I cannot bring something in public that we have not had any agreement about. Other ministers who are operating in an environment where their entities or small, medium, macro enterprises are registered and it's easy for them to give them a relief, have already gone ahead to introduce relief mechanisms. I can't do that in transport. I have to look at how such can be structured and be done. Is it doable? Yes, if there is resources. Will it be done? Yes, it will be done once we have concluded the package at the level of government. And yes, it will be announced if it is doable at the end of the day. Are we considering it? We are on top of it as we speak. So that's what we are doing, and I've briefed them about it. Subsidizing the taxi industry and regulating the taxi industry is on top of our agenda. By now in April, we will be convening a taxi indaba. There are two things we must agree upon with the taxi industry. 20 billion rand business, but nobody can see that money because the money, 20 billion rand, must find effect in the businesses regulated to the commuter. First, the fares must go down because the business is subsidized. But because it's unregulated, unsubsidized, the fares are high. And secondly, to purchase a vehicle like taxi is too expensive. Even with recapitalization, 15 to 18,000 per month installment. And that is why there are wars in the country of taxi industry. Part of the problem and the genesis of these wars, fundamentally, they are about the economics and the financial redistribution and regulating the industry. As government, 6 administration, we are intervening. And we are negotiating very hard. And in the platform we've created with the taxi industry that will lead to firm resolutions that will go to cabinet on these particular matters before end of the year will actually take us somewhere as the taxi industry in South Africa. So coronavirus is visiting us when we are engaged on these particular matters. I've spoken to all industry players on these issues and preparing for Indaba. I'm left with NTA, which I'm going to be speaking with them and engaging with them and all of these particular issues as we proceed going forward, and all others that we have not as yet engaged with. All our MECs are on board in relation to this throughout the provinces in terms of the issues I'm talking about regulating the taxi industry. Thank you very much.
There was one question directed to me. There's one question that was directed to me. The department is working normally. There's no lockdown in the work of government. Many work from home, but there always a reduced team in the office every day. So if there is legislation that is in the pipeline, we don't stop it because there's a lockdown. The process continues, but people must remember that you can't amend law by a stroke of a pen. It has to go through a long process, including the parliamentary process. So there is no lockdown on the department. There's a lockdown on the movement of the people. But the department must continue to be operational all the time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Minister of Justice.
Yeah, there was only one question directed to me, and it relates to the issue of the people who are being arrested. What happens with them in our courts and in the cells? As you will have seen, we've issued a directive that relates to the operations of the courts, and the directive also includes the issue of deep cleaning of the various facilities that we have, the courts. That includes also the police cells in terms of our consultation with the Minister of Police, and it also includes the sanitization, the deep cleaning of the correctional facilities, because it is an entire value chain from the police cells up until correctional services. Hence, there's a need for that coordinated approach. There's also a clear provisions in terms of the Criminal Procedure Act, in terms of what bails can police fix and what a bail can a prosecutor fix. And those provisions, we are encouraging that the police and the prosecutors should be able to use them during this period as and when it becomes necessary, to avoid any congestions in the cells and also in the courts as and when people make the first appearance, so that we are able to have that social distancing. The matters that must come to court for any first appearance or bail applications should be matters that could not have been fixed and resolved by the police and by the prosecutor. Thank you.
Can I ask the media, are you taking us live now? Just asking the media. Are we live now, or are we having some live crossing in Cape Town? Cape Town is live now. Cape Town is live for all the channels now. We might have to perhaps pause, in my view, and allow the Cape Town press briefing to be concluded so that we can continue. It's very unfortunate. We had arranged this one, and that's why we dragged in the Deputy Minister to come and assist us here, and everybody was aware of this one. But be that as it may, I will ask that we pause and allow the press briefing in Cape Town to be concluded, colleagues, if you don't mind, so that we then continue after that press briefing is concluded. Agreed? Thank you very much. You remain quarantined.